Greetings, Moonlight Citizens. Your man on the moon, the Moonlight King here with 62nd episode of the Moonlight Kingdom Podcast. Oh, we're covering a variety of topics here, and it will be spread out thoroughly for you to enjoy. In 3, 2, 1, bust! Good evening.
Good evening, my friend.
Although I did just decide what the best magic set would be. Give me a reincarnated as a slime magic set.
Oh, no. No.
Yes.
No.
You draw Reaper and Tempest and you automatically win the game.
No. I'm thinking of something better. Metal Reflect Slime plus, what's it? Plus Egyptian God Slime and Relinquish.
No, I want
That will
Reaper.
get you hate.
What can I help you with, Man on the Moon?
Well, pertaining to I got some stuff from the background, but there was someone mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh! In the Shadow Realm, and apparently the concept of the Shadow Realm wasn't a thing in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Wasn't until it got dubbed, because apparently over in the States, the idea of the cards getting destroyed and flatlined wasn't appeasing to the American companies, so they invented the concept of the Shadow Realm just to be like, oh no, they were sent to the Shadow Realm. They're not destroyed. They still exist.
Yeah. And that's also completely true because in the Japanese lore, if you look at things like Parasite, it has completely different artwork, whereas because in Japanese trading cards, Parasite has like actual parasites on the victim's face, whereas in in like the English and like American dub, it's a whole different card design. It's like 4K's really censored a lot of shit because remember they not only made the TV show, they did most of the card game. Wizards of the Coast did the rest of it, I believe.
Well, I mean, America loves to censor things. I mean, look at Sailor Moon. Trans people no longer existed. Lesbian relationships no longer existed. How many things did they edit because they were like, no, we can't possibly show this?
There was this one anime where there were these two people, they got into a relationship in the original one, and in the American one they were like, well, we can't have these two chicks get into a relationship, so they said in the dub they're siblings now.
That's Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
That's Sailor Moon.
Yeah. There's nothing else I can think of that describes that type of plot. The only thing I can actually think of is Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I believe you're right, Rain. I believe they made them cousins, but they didn't edit the wording in it. So they basically made loving cousins in the, and I mean loving cousins. I don't mean like.
They made it way worse than the original version.
They made it so much worse.
They really did.
Well, they didn't even want to bring the Sailor Stars over here forever because the Sailor Stars were boys that turned into girls when they used the star power.
I can kind of see why they'd want to leave that part out.
Oh, didn't Danny Phantom get fucking thingy censored? I believe.
Maybe?
Danny Phantom.
Yeah. Like the original Danny Phantom, not the remake.
Wait a minute. You mean that I saw a clip with Danny with an eye? Like where Danny was a chick?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that
got censored.
I'm pretty sure that was a one-off episode, but
no, I know. But what I'm saying is, like, I can remember there being, something similar to it, or else I'm thinking of a completely different show.
Quite
well,
possible.
I know they did that a lot in Pokemon. Now, some of them did need to be censored. There was some stuff that definitely didn't need to come over. Shouldn't have been created in the first place. And then there was other stuff, typically revolving around Team Rocket, Jesse, and James. They were like, yep, this can never be shown in the U.S.
Yeah.
Danny Phantom, the first thing that comes up, specifically Danny's blood is green instead of red, which is a result of censorship and the fact that Ghost and Echoes are usually green, while the green blood may be seen as censorship. This show also uses red blood for cuts on Danny, suggesting that green blood is not necessarily a strict rule. Yeah, they did it only in his ghost form.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, personally, I really liked Pokemon. I liked the part where the bad guys got blown up, and then whenever they would fly off into the sky, you'd just hear "Wah the fat." That always got a laugh out of me.
I love Wobbuffet.
Oh, but
So this is saying, I don't know if this is true. This is a quick Google search. No, the character Danny Phantom wasn't censored when he briefly became a girl. In the episode Wasted, Danny transforms into a female version of himself, Donnie Phantom, D-A-N-I. But this was a plot point, not a result of censorship.
yeah, I remember that being the one-off. In relation to the background, I gotta ask, in y'all's professional opinion, as people who play video games and watch anime and have seen numerous adaptations over the years, why do adaptations of popular anime tend to suck?
In my opinion, it's because of the fact that they're constantly wanting to censor things for the sake of censoring things. Because, well, as
Do you mean like live action adaptation?
Yes,
yeah,
live action.
Okay.
like IMO, the reason why most things get censored is due to the fact that, well, people just really don't care to let things be as they are, if that makes sense. Like, if I remember correctly, it was originally MTV MTV America, that is, that ended up pulling down a Queen song video just because the entire band was dressed in drag.
Yeah, they were in the kitchen and they all dressed like women. Yeah.
It got pulled because, well, Freddie and the Lot were in drag, of all things. Like, the fuck? Make it make sense.
Yeah. I don't get it either.
Like, things like that should not be pulled. It doesn't matter. Like, IMO, it's not hurting anybody. Like, the only people it could be hurting is people with fragile masculinity. And that's it.
Yeah. With regards to, like, anime adaptations and, like, is there an adaptation there is this argument to be made that the directors of these adaptations tend to make a lot, and that is, well, nobody wants to watch a one-to-one recreation of the thing. They've already seen it, so we have to make changes.
No, that's bullshit. I would love to see a one-to-one recreation. At the end of the day, if you're recreating an anime, if it's an iconic anime, but you're not including the most key features, I'm sorry, then you're not a person. You're just a fucking dickhead. Like, putting it bluntly. Like, at that point, you don't care about the anime. You care more about the moolahs. You care more about making the money than you do actively trying to, in a sense, treat it like it's its own culture, in a way.
Yeah. So in your view of things, if we were to do like a live action Resident Evil, a shot for shot recreation would be best.
That's already been done. Or are you thinking like games?
Yeah, that's already been done. They made a shot for shot recreation of Resident Evil 1 and 2 with Welcome to Raccoon City, and that didn't really do so good.
No, like, okay, so I can make exceptions. For things like Resident Evil, for example, it would be very difficult to bother do things like that due to the fact of, well, we have the technology for it, but we don't have the expertise for it. Because nobody thinks about hiring people that have actually played the games or have seen the games. And that's what really annoys me the most, because at that point you're like, well, shit. Like, the fuck can I do here kind of thing. And again, like, this is just in my personal opinion, and my professional opinion at that. I have played through every single Resident Evil game, old and new. And I feel like there's only two that really deserve a adaptation. That being 4 and 5. 4 deserves it because I can definitely see a prominent actor playing Leon.
Yeah.
I could probably see somebody like maybe Pedro Pascal. I would love that. Like, a lot.
Pedro Pascal is in everything nowadays.
Like, he played Joel in The Last of Us, and he did it really well. Like, I feel like they mainly did The Last of Us to cop out. Now, people say that the Fallout show is too woke. It's not. It's just really good. Like, yes, it retcons New Vegas, but even then, I don't care about that shit. Like, I care about the story, and I care for the fucking lore and the plot of everything. Yeah, I don't like that it's... Well, I wouldn't say I don't like it. I like the fact that it has to do with New Vegas, but I don't like that it's all retcon. Because then it just makes the game in itself much more complicated to follow, because New Vegas is one of those games that's just really difficult to follow. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you could be paying the most amount of attention, and you can feel like, okay, like, this makes sense, I'm learning to understand this. And then it pulls a 180 and it's like, yeah, no. It's like, huh?
Of course, the downside of adapting those kind of video games is the multiple endings and different choices you can go down.
Like, oh my god.
Whereas with a movie, there's only one route, one story you can tell. You can't really go down multiple endings and so on.
Well, I mean, depends on the movie. It depends on how you're making it. If you're making it with multiple choices, then you could just do what Snyder did.
What Snyder did? What, like make a director's cut?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a whole other thing. You know, it was a long, arduous road to get the Snyder cut. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't see it being the industry standard, but, you know, it could work.
I can't see it being an industry standard either, but that's just me. But I could also see it being a very popular thing. Okay. Like, imagine remaking the Borderlands movie, because, well, the movie fucking sucked. I'm gonna be for real.
Yeah, that's not a hot take. Everybody agrees, you know, it was not Craig Mazin's best work. By the way, did you know Craig Mazin wrote The Last of Us, the TV show?
Yes.
And he also did Borderlands, so make it make sense.
Like, how do you go from writing one good show to writing a fucking trash movie?
Yeah, who knows?
Okay, I'm back. I'm so sorry about that. My computer got really angry for some reason.
Yeah, we saw the green screen of Sheen coming up. Sludge, more likely. Yeah, it looked more like slime, for being honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that blue screen of doom that would come up on like a computer that it would let you know, it basically in no certain terms said, yeah, your computer's fucked. Turn it off.
I mean, to be fair, one of my friends gave me PTSD. She has a 360, and her 360 ended up getting the red ring.
Oh, no.
I was like, out of all my years of owning a 360, also losing mine, I never got the red ring. She goes, well, you know what? You're a fucking cunt. Like, I know.
I thought I was going to have a heart attack when that happened on my 360. Like, I turned it on, I waited a second. The screen didn't change, and then I looked down. I'm expecting the green ring to let me know it's on, but then that red ring starts flashing, and I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, circling back to the video games. We didn't really get your take on it, Demi. Like, how do you feel about the state of video game movies?
Did it fully crash? Yes, it fully crashed. My state of recreations, it's because everybody wants to have a say in it. So instead of actually making a recreation, they're trying to make an original off of somebody else's idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a video game out there that you think would be perfect for adaptation to a movie?
I've got plentiful in my head.
I mean, with with modern technology, as long as they're willing to do CGI along with
Practical effects.
Live performance, something like they did for Marvel, like they used a lot of CGI to go with it. I would love to see something like a Mega Man X, like the actual story of Mega Man X, which is very dark, for lack of a better way of putting it. Something like that. Metal Gear wouldn't be bad. I mean, they've already had their shot to do Devil May Cry. They went with an animated adaptation instead.
They're doing Metal Gear. They got Oscar Isaac for thing.
Wait.
Legend of Zelda, supposedly they're doing. So we'll see how that goes.
They've been talking to Tom Holland.
I mean, I would love to see a Metal Gear Solid movie.
They're doing a movie. They got Oscar Isaac for the movie.
Really?
Yeah. He signed on a couple years back.
I have not heard about this. Like, at all.
Because that's literally all that's happened. They announced that, yes, we're doing a movie. Yes, Oscar Isaac in it. And nothing else. That's why there's been no news. Nothing else has happened. Yeah, the unfortunate nature of it all. But yeah, you're all right. Those properties would make for good movies. What's that one? What's that one where the city is underwater and the main dude, would you kindly, the bad guy keeps saying that shit? Yeah. BioShock. That could be a great movie. Not a TV show.
That could be a great show. Like, you have to keep in mind that there'd be 3 movies. Or actually technically 4. Like 3 or 4 or something like that. Because, well, you would have to do Infinite within 2 parts. Because, well, the game originally came as 2 parts anyway for 360 and PS3. It wasn't until it got remastered that it was only 1 section. But I would love to see a BioShock film. That would be awesome.
They tried to make one way back when. I think it was like around about 2014 with Gore Verbinski, because he just did Rango, and apparently he started playing BioShock, and he tried to get it off the ground, and it just didn't happen. Like the studio didn't want to give him the money, so it's like, okay, that didn't happen.
It's like, well, shit, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's the one thing of why some of these adaptations tend to suck. Not enough money is allocated to the right things. It's like, if you want to get your video game movie made, fine, but you'll have to do it on the cheap, and that never works out.
No, it doesn't. I mean, Uncharted wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, but it helps to have a couple $100 million in the bank.
Too right.
I was wondering, how did you feel about Tom Holland as young Nathan Drake?
I liked it. I thought it made sense.
I thought it was good.
I would have preferred Troy Baker doing the thingy for it, the voice for it, and that's just me. I'm very prone to Troy Baker. I love him.
You want a live-action dude with a recognizable face and voice to have his voice dubbed over by someone else?
Yes, because that would be amazing.
That would be kind of jarring.
No, because not Troy Baker. Fuck, what's his name?
Nolan North.
No, not Nolan. What's the name of the young actor that ended up playing Nathan in Uncharted 4?
That kid.
I'm not a huge Uncharted fan, so I'm not sure.
Neither am I. Like, wait a minute.
Not the kid, like the one, like the preteen. I feel like somebody like he would be a good fit.
He's probably a grown man now, but okay.
I don't think, possibly. I'm not sure. I could always like have a look.
The thing about Uncharted movie was it wasn't, if you look at it, it wasn't adapting any of the video games. It was its own story because it really focused on young Nathan Drake and not quite as old Sully, which none of the video
Yeah.
games do. So which is the better route? So I'm gonna ask Demi this question: which is the better route to go for adaptation? Adapting the video game beat for beat, or coming up with an original story that just happens to have the video game characters in it?
Would depend what you're touching. So, for example, if you were trying to make an adaptation of Final Fantasy VII, coming up with your own original story, you're going to get nothing but hate. If you're not literally the creator of Final Fantasy VII, that has created branching storylines, including their animated, which was I own it. What's the name of it?
Yeah, I know that one. It's a
Advent
CG
Children.
movie. Yeah, Advent Children.
Right. Advent Children. But yet the original creator still had basically he created this entire world branched off of FF7. So him coming up with a original plot line that just used the characters, that's gonna work. But if you're I don't know, let's say Michael Bay. You're Michael Bay and you go, I want to make a Final Fantasy VII live action movie, and you don't stick to the plot of Final Fantasy VII, you're gonna get ripped apart. Now, other things might tend to work. Something like you're, doing almost like a prequel in the Uncharted series with Tom Holland. That's almost what it really was basically a prequel where you're talking about the young character. They got away with it doing. It wasn't a one-to-one adaptation, but they used the new Tomb Raider games. They used young Lara Croft, and we're telling the story of Laura before she was Laura. And they used a similar. I wouldn't say it's a one-to-one. I would say it's like a 1-3 of the newer games. That would tend to work. It's really gonna depend on what you touch. Like for example, Zelda, you might get away with it as long as you're, depicting the main three characters that people really give a shit about: Link, Ganondorf, Zelda. If you're depicting them properly, you have a lot of leeway because the timeline and the understanding of Zelda is very, very skewed. But if you said, I'm making Zelda a link to the past, and then you went off character or off basis,
Or even off,
you're gonna get ripped apart.
or even off beat for that matter. Like,
Yeah,
Zelda fans would rip you apart. Plus, Nintendo up your ass.
Right. So if you're making a Zelda that's in the Zelda universe, sure. But if you say I'm making Zelda a Link to the Past, or I'm making Twilight Princess as a live action, you better stick to that bitch 1-1, or you're not gonna win.
Yeah, because again, not only is Nintendo gonna sue your asses, but so is Zelda.
Oh well, there's no way that anybody's making a Zelda movie without Nintendo having 10 fingers in it.
Even though we only have 8 fingers technically.
Alright, look, 8 fingers, 10 toes, and 2 thumbs. If they don't got that in it, you ain't making that movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, video game companies don't really license their projects anymore unless they have some kind of creative control. Just look what happened to the Mario movie, the first one.
I mean, to be fair, have you heard about the Switch 2 and what Nintendo would be doing?
Yeah, well, I will wait until that actually comes to fruition.
Yeah, same.
Nintendo has said a great many things over the years, and people bitch and moan and cry and complain.
Yeah.
Nintendo is very good at wanting to see what they can get away with, but I also don't blame the bricking part. Yes, I blame, but I also don't blame them for saying, "Nah, you need to not be modding our system and taking all our games for free."
Yeah.
Like, it's a very fine line with what they're saying, and they kind of win with an absolute instead of, so there's no wiggle room. And I'm sure that's going to be backtracked in some way, shape, or form. But Nintendo has always been that way. games like Project M, individuals that have even just opened up the Switch because it had the capabilities of doing Netflix and internet browsing and all of that. That is still them modding proprietary software. They shouldn't really do it. Yeah, you bought it, you own it, but you're not using it for the intended purpose of sale, which gets into dicey gray waters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been that way. People, like, Nintendo's the most vocal about it, but people have gotten in trouble for modding PlayStation. People have gotten in trouble for modding Xbox. People have gotten in trouble for pirating the games. Like, all of this exists with the other companies, but other companies typically do it discreetly, and Nintendo's like, nah, we gotta say this point blank, fuck you.
Yeah, basically.
Now, the one that Nintendo did recently, going after Pal World because you catch things with spherical balls, I think they pushed the boundaries a little bit on that one.
That shit
They
was
were
just
like,
petty.
yeah, they were being a little petty about it. They were mad somebody made a game that is very similar to Pokemon in
No.
technicality. Like, it's not a Pokemon game. It has technical features that, yes, Pokemon has been a leading one. But if you want to get really fucking technical, holy shit, we're at 50k likes already? God damn, y'all have been tapping that screen. Thank you so much. If you want to get really fucking technical about it, Pokemon ripped off Digimon, and then Digimon ripped off something else. Everything stems from other things, but Pokemon's big claim that had me just rip roaring and laughing is you can't ride one of your captured pals because that is a Pokemon exclusive. I'm sorry, since when is riding a mount or a captured creature a Pokemon exclusive? Are you serious?
Like, we were able to do that in Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, Aeon.
Like an Ark Survival.
That the dinosaur game?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
You can literally do that in both the Ark games as well.
I can ride on a damn T-Rex.
Exactly.
That's the dream.
You can also ride on a Giganotosaurus, but if you take too much damage, then it gets angry, throws you off, and eats you.
It just points to horses, Jen says.
Oh, yeah. But that's the thing. In regards to, like, the video games and all that, like, with everything that's going on. Hey, how did you react when you found out that the guy running Nintendo's last name is Bowser?
Is what?
The head of Nintendo, his last name is Bowser, as in the bad guy from Mario.
Everything comes from everything. Also, if you don't know this, let me ruin something for you. What does Mario say?
It's a me, a Mario.
Yeah, slow those words down. What is Mario saying?
Hold on, I'm thinking. I don't know.
So what Mario is actually saying is Itsumi Mario, which means Super Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
But it sounds like It's-a-me Mario.
That's a nifty little detail.
Definitely.
Hey, what'd you think about Chris Pratt as Mario? You feel he should have had an accent?
I mean, I really don't care for Chris Pratt. I just don't. Like, I personally feel like he's only good when it comes to Star Wars, but that's it. And even then, that's because I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, there are quite a few Chris Pratt characters, especially the one in that what's that robot movie he was in? That Netflix Electric State, yeah. There are so many Chris Pratt characters that can be just called discount Star-Lord ever since Guardians of the Galaxy, and
Well,
it's
I
just...
mean, at this point, people are saying the same thing about Ryan Reynolds. Like, look at the characters Ryan Reynolds played.
But it's
He
true.
played Deadpool. Every character is a discount Deadpool.
The difference here is that it's true. Every character
Yeah.
is quippy and sarcastic and apparently knows that they're in a movie. Like,
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, even the writers of Deadpool said they based it around some of it around Ryan Reynolds. So Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. I'm convinced of this.
I'm also convinced of this, to be honest.
that has got to be one of the
Especially
only
since
characters,
that
yeah.
motherfucker has a healing factor. He has not aged in like 20 years.
I mean, he's aged some. You know, if you look at him in like Blade
Where?
Trinity
No.
versus Deadpool, there's some change there. He used to be a lot bigger, like physically and shit. He used to be a lot more jacked. He's still in shape, but he's not as big.
Well, I mean, I feel like most actors don't really. Oh,
I was gonna say, I don't count bulk of actors because them motherfuckers go from like 230 pounds to like 110 pounds, depending on what role they want to take on. In like 5 months, they're like, yep, I gotta be a different weight and a different look. Done.
I mean, to be fair, I'm about to bring up something good. Think about Christian Bale in The Machinist.
Yeah.
He lost so much weight, and then he put it all back on.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, just look at what's his name that plays Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
Oh yeah. He was
Or the
shredded.
guy that played Captain America. Like-
Chris Evans?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Evans.
He got beefy in that scene when he comes out of that pod. Holy shit. That man was beefed up. God damn. Wait, here's a question. So Marvel has this what if series. And one of these what ifs is what if Peggy Carter became, Captain Carter instead of Steve Rogers becoming Captain America? And I'm thinking, okay, so everything plays out.
We would have had a character I might have liked. I'm sorry, I hate Captain America.
I'm like, yeah, but the question is this. In the Captain America movie, when Steve comes out of that pod, Peggy Carter, like, touches his pec and is like, ooh, oh, shit. And is, like, kind of, caught off guard by this. Do you think when Peggy Carter came out of her pod in her universe, that skinny Steve Rogers walked over and,
Well, technically, if you go by both comics and the what ifs, he's not going to walk over and do anything because he's not alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
The only reason they allowed a woman to go through the process was because they had no candidates left and things were blowing up around them. So that's technically not a fair comparison. But if he was alive, I think the correct cinematic way of doing it is Peggy should have just picked him up and walked off with him.
Yeah. The idea of scrawny Steve Rogers copping a feel on the now beefy Captain Carter doesn't sit right with you, huh? I said, there would be this feeling of like, dude, what are you doing? Like, there's like 10 people in here, man. But oh yeah.
No, there's certain characters that definitely were written in as men, just because of the time period of their comics. And when they were rewritten, whether it's in a different universe, a different multiverse, however it's written, where you have the female version of that character, the character just ended up being more appealing. In my opinion, there are certain characters that really, really show this off. I think it's kind of like Superman. Captain America and Superman are very plain Jane, can do no wrong, have no flaws in their original context. As comics have progressed, even Superman has flaws. But in the originals, they were just the epitome of perfection. And I find if somebody's perfect, they're boring. So Superman has always bored me. Even Batman is boring to me. It's why my favorite character is honestly Damian Wayne, because he's Batman with a shit ton of flaws.
Well, I mean, I feel like most people that I know just really hate Damian for one reason or another. And
yeah, he's actually the least liked Robin, except I think he's amazing. I think not only is he the best Robin, but he's the most effed to actually take over the Bat mantle besides maybe not Jason Todd.
Dick Grayson.
Tim Drake.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Tim Drake is the least interesting of all those Robins.
No.
But
I can prove it.
Not only could you make that claim, but that means you don't know a lot of the side story of Tim Drake, especially during his Nightwing career. But that also is what has him fit being Batman. Is because if you honestly think about it, Bruce Wayne is boring as shit. Tim Drake would fit Batman's role without changing who Batman is. The reason I think Damian is a better Batman is because Damian has so much fucking baggage that it is a true battle of not going over to the dark side every time Damian does something. Batman's like, I lost my family, I can't use guns. Or pew-pews, sorry TikTok. I can't use pew-pews, or I'll go over to the dark side. Except there's so many universes that he uses pew-pews. I'm sorry, I will pick on Batman all day. I don't like the character.
I mean, I feel like there's two good Batman incarnations, and as dark as this is gonna sound, for me it's Frank Miller Batman. I don't
think I've ever seen that.
Okay, so I personally love the Batman Who Laughs. He's a Frank Miller Batman, and he is a great Batman. Because it really does shine in the whole pretense of Batman can be not only just brutal, but straight up psychotic. And on top of that, what you also don't realize is that Asbat is a thing. Azrael Batman. Because if you remember, it was Michael Wayne Scott, if I remember correctly.
When Batman was out of commission and he needed somebody to take his place, that guy.
No. Well, yes, no, and also more complicated. Yes. Okay, so what actually happened was it was more of a thing of Batman originally, because Bruce originally went after Bane.
Yeah, he broke his back. That's what I mean. Out of commission. Yeah.
He didn't realize exactly how powerful Bane had gotten, and he ended up going straight back to Commissioner Gordon. Gordon relayed him everything, and that was when the Bat had his back broken in half. That was the unalivement of the Bat, not the unalivement of Batman. That was the breaking of the Batman, sorry. The unalivement was when Michael Wayne Scott came in the picture. He was originally Azrael. He was Azrael Batman. He was a Batman that did not fuck around. It was to the point where if you were a bad guy in Gotham and you hadn't already made it out to Arkham, oh, by God, you would have been fucking... Oh, you would have been slaughtered in the streets, putting it that way. Azrael Batman is the absolute one of the most brutal incarnations, and that is mainly because Michael Wayne Scott had originally been with the Order of Saint Dumas, which, if I remember correctly, was a Christian worshipping cult because they were all obsessed with the Order of Saint Dumas, which follows back from 600 years ago, where basically the Dumas family had ended up. The Dumas family had originally been. What's the word, Demi?
I don't know, because it sounds like you're describing Archangel Batman, which is in a different multiverse where Damian does take over the Batmantle because he has the League of Shadows training. Basically, he rules
No,
as,
no.
hold on. He rules as Batman with a the quote righteous fury. He has to make the decision between life and death, and that is what you're describing.
Yeah.
He can be brutally furious, but at the end of the day, he always has to hold back at the very end.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
It's why I think Damian Wayne makes the best Batman, because he's actually fighting of, quote, good and evil within himself every time he puts on the mantle. And I don't see that with most other Batman iterations.
Yeah, but, like, I only hate Damian for one valid reason. Dick
Is
from...
he the pompous 12-year-old?
No, because he ended up, well, unaliving Dick.
Oh, come on. He should have ducked. He should have ducked that. Come on.
No, because you see.
I mean, there's one reason I hate Damian Wayne. It's because they gave him superpowers.
Yeah, that's
Not for very long, but they were like, yeah, we're going to resurrect him, and then he has superpowers. I was like, no, don't do that.
It was amazing, like, seeing him actually use them, but, like, it was funny.
Look, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Damian Wayne, those are, like, the only characters I like in that universe. And every time they decide, Poison Ivy already has superpowers. Like, I fell in love with her that way. But when Harley Quinn got superpowers from, what is it, Matron Mother Master?
No, give me a minute, I'm thinking.
You know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. Mother Nature, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's the second time. I was talking about the right hand of Darkseid, the woman with the warhammer.
Oh,
shit. With the white hair and the staff, yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Well, she granted powers to be an over warlord for Harley Quinn, and Harley Quinn was like super strong, super durable. I was like, no, you're ruining my favorite character. Don't give my non-powered characters superpowers. Stop doing it. It's like a hard line I have. Like, if I fall in love with the character when they're not superpowered, or they're a bit above average, that's where I want them. I want to see them succeed in that way. I don't want you to be like, oh, well, we're just gonna make them, God tier. No, I fell in love with them as not God tier. Stop it.
Yeah. Like,
Granny Goodness?
I personally love Martian Manhunter.
Martian, I honestly like his fake niece.
Megan.
Yes. Megan.
I like Megan more, but Martian Manhunter I don't have really any qualms with. I think he has a good duality about him. I guess I don't like plain written characters for the most part. If they don't have something that they're conflicting with, they kind of bother me.
He's badass E.T. What more do you want?
Yeah.
I mean, right? Like, I can't really hate on Martian Manhunter, and even Martian Manhunter, like, give him all the powers in the world. Don't make him immune to fire, which they did at one point in time, and then it got pissed off.
They did. I remember that.
It's like, oh, you're as powerful as Superman, but you have a super common weakness. It's called fire.
Yeah.
Okay. I can work with this. And then they were like, he's immune to fire. I was like, no!
Like, what the fuck?
A thing that makes a superhero
Yes,
interesting is when you give them some kind of flaw.
Unbelievable acrobatics and her mind. I will agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I feel like the reason as to why her mind is the way that it is well, mainly because of Joker, honestly.
Well, technically yes and technically no.
Going by the argument.
Her mind is on an intellectual IQ in a different capacity, similar to like a Tony Stark or a Lex Luthor. Her fractured mind is because of Joker.
Yeah.
So she didn't lose the super intelligence that she has. She just it's broken and fractured, which is what makes her crazy. Also, will say I did not mind when she basically got the equivalent of like a super soldier serum, which just enhanced what she already had, but she was still flawed in many ways. But it was when they gave her the ability to fly, when they made her a warlord of basically dark side, I was like, no, now you're taking it too far.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had this problem with a lot of characters, and they do this a lot. Either it's in a different multiverse, or they're like, this character is getting boring to us. Well, see what the fans think of the character before you just start adding things. It's kind of like the Flash. The Flash annoys me because his answer is, I get more powerful, I get more powerful, I get more powerful. I completely fucked everything up. Time travel.
Yeah.
Stop using time travel as the scapegoat.
Like, at this point, it's just getting overdone.
It happens whenever they need to reset everything. When the universe has gotten so large and so tangled up in its own continuity that it's like, okay, that's it. We need to wipe the slate clean somehow. Let's just have the Flash time travel and undo everything we've done.
Like, if
I've got a better answer. Since it's always 626 Flash that screws things up, let's just blow up 626. Let's move to another universe and start over.
They kind of did that with that absolute. They're trying to with the absolute universe, like a whole new universe where everything starts from scratch. But I'm not. I mean, it's been good. Like Wonder Woman's great, Superman's great, but I'm not feeling absolute fat man over there. Just nah.
Oh,
you said absolute fat man?
Yes, that's what I'm calling him right now. Freaking Batman of Gold's Gym over there looks like Sylvester Steroids. I'm not feeling this guy. You are too damn big to be Batman. Who you sneaking up on, man? Everywhere you go, there's followed by thud, thud, thud. His Batmobile is a dump truck.
I will say one of my favorite characters is Spider-Man. Always has been, always will be. It's one of the first comics I ever owned. I hate the first Spider-Man movies, but I will say
Them's fighting words.
I know a lot of people like the first Spider-Man movies, but there's so much I have an issue with. Specifically, the fact that he shoots webs out of his wrist, which the whole thing about Peter Parker was being smart and creating their own web fluid. But with that said, I will say the scene in the third Spider-Man of the Tom, I think it's the third Spider-Man of the Tom Holland series, where they all meet each other because of multiversal shit, where they're all loading their web fluid, and he's like, "Ew!" They're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Okay, that made me laugh, and then I was like, okay, maybe this Spider-Man is not supposed to be 626 Spider-Man, although they never elaborated on that because there are Spider-Man that don't use the web fluids. Okay, I can give it a little bit, but the third movie of the first Spider-Man series still exists with emo fucking Peter Parker, and no.
That's funny.
You're on about Polyguire.
That's actually pretty funny looking back on it. You know, it's got its moments.
Yeah. Like, the only reason why he even existed in the first place was literally, and I'm not shitting you, was literally because of the Venom symbiote, and because he was trying to keep it under control. And you're actually doing a really good job, until Eddie Brock got in the way and started to fuck with his mental state.
Well, then again, I'll say more fighting words. Venom sucks. Carnage is the only symbiote that matters.
Okay, hell no.
I'll agree there.
Hell no.
See, like, as much as I love Venom, I will say that Venom sucks ass. Like, I love Tom Hardy's Venom, but no. Carnage is...
The only Venom I like is actually from the animated one, where I think it's Eddie Brock has Venom, and he's learning to be not Avenger, but he's learning to be a member of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it absorbs rocket.
That's Flash Thompson.
Shoots rocket. Yeah, Flash Thompson. That Venom makes me laugh, but as far as Venom goes, I'm not a Venom fan. I really don't like Venom.
Agent Venom.
You're talking about the Amazing Spider-Man show?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
No, the only two symbiotes that I three technically, because my wings and my tail have symbiote infusion. Haha, I do like symbiotes. Anyway, joke. No, the only two I really like is Lady Carnage,
Yeah.
which later becomes Scream, and Carnage. Those are the only symbiotes that I really like. And there's a bunch of other ones. I think Toxic is they were bored. They wanted to make something more powerful. Toxic is boring. I don't like the one that is a hybrid of Venom and Carnage. I don't like Toxic because they're a baby Carnage. Then it's just more powerful because that's how they wrote symbiotes. I actually do like Anti-Venom. I think Anti-Venom is very interesting.
Yes.
But I think Venom is a very boring fucking character.
He was supposed to be
With
in that
that
third
s-
Venom movie. With that
that
guy.
said,
Yeah.
I thought the way they portrayed Venom in the 3 Venom movies was phenomenal, and it actually made me like Venom a bit more. If you'd have talked to me before those movies came out, I would have bashed Venom up and down that he's a poorly written character, that he is the epitome of shitty writing, and that Venom should have been skipped and they should have moved on to other symbiotes that whether they had the concept for them or not. Now, as like the original symbiote that you get introduced to, if he is the reason that all the other symbiotes can exist, then I give Venom a little bit of credit because I wouldn't have Carnage without Venom. But as far as original writing of Venom, Venom is boring as fuck.
I mean, I also.
Oh, the Carnage movie was terrible, Jen. And I was so mad with the Carnage movie.
I mean, I feel like this is also worth noting. There wouldn't be Carnage without Peter Parker either.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
There's thing is that yeah, there's a version
No,
of the comics.
that's actually not
Yeah.
true.
Then what am I thinking of? Because I know Venom comes from Peter's blood.
Oh, that's the Ultimate Universe in the
Yeah.
Oh,
the Ultimates. Yeah.
you're talking something complete. No, so Venom originally comes from the first escapee from Cruel?
No.
Null? Null.
King of the Symbiotes.
Is the first escapee from Null that escaped on an asteroid. And then Carnage is just a byproduct of Venom, who only exists because who was the reporter that it snuck? Eddie Brock. Yeah, Eddie Brock wanted to make a name for himself, and Carnage was like, "Ooh, Cletus Cassidy, we work." And bonded with Cletus Cassidy at a level nobody thought that symbiotes could, which was at the molecular level down in the bloodstream. Now, would his powers be slightly different? Because in this universe, Venom had already absorbed some of the powers of Spider-Man? Maybe, because most of Carnage's powers are things that Venom can't even manifest until much later in writing.
Yeah, Venom couldn't make blades out of his hands and, tendrils all sharp and pointy. I mean, he could basically do Spider-Man stuff, but more jacked up versions. And Venom initially didn't shoot webs. His webbing was just, tendrils from his own body. That's why they were black.
Symbiote, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no web shooting. It actually doesn't even make sense that Venom shoots webs unless you're talking basically about in a universe where Spider-Man can shoot webs without web shooters.
Because how can he copy the machine? Like, that's problematic. But I like but Venom is a cool character. Not just that, but his name is cool. His name is Venom. Even the name got a kick-ass backstory. Like, there's this moment where he was, like, talking to himself. He's like, we are poison to both Spider-Man and Peter Parker. We are Venom. Like, what the heck? How can you hear some shit like that and say, I don't think he's that cool. He ain't that great. Like, what is up? What is with you?
Because honestly, Venom has done a worse job at taking down Spider-Man than the Hunter or whatever his name is.
Craven. Okay,
Kraven.
that was
Kraven
one
Hunter.
time.
Kraven has done better at fighting Spider-Man than Venom ever has.
That was
That's
one
a true
time.
fact.
Okay, that don't count.
Well, no, it does. That's the thing.
Dude got lucky. I'll say that much.
I forgot about this. The
What?
Venom Rex.
Oh, I remember that.
But no, Scream. I looked up the strongest one. Scream is one of my favorite because I love her color composition, and she reminds me of Sindel from Mortal Kombat because she uses her hair as part of her symbiotic nature.
Yes, I remember that.
Sleeper is super boring. I like Anti-Venom. Toxin is fucking dumb. He's super powerful, but he's dumb as shit. Grendel. Grendel is a very interesting symbiote.
Grendel's actually quite interesting, yeah. Like, now that you
That's because he's a fucking dragon symbiote.
I know.
And then Null is just boring. Like, I understand that he's the god of symbiotes, but he's boring.
They had the chance to really do something interesting with that character, because if that description alone, just that word, the god of the symbiotes, you could imagine the crazy stuff he should be able to do, but nah, he's just evil Venom.
Yeah, he's evil Venom that is technically weaker than Venom. In technicality, he's weaker than Venom.
It's very disappointing. It's very disappointing when you see a great idea and you're like, man, y'all could have done so much more with this. But oh well.
No, so let's ask the real questions. Top three villains that you like.
Oh, we're talking Marvel? Okay.
They can be it doesn't matter. It can be anime, it can be DC, it can be Marvel, don't care. Top three villains, why you like them, and if you think they have a flaw that you would rewrite if you could.
Honestly, top three villains, I'd have to say, just thinking straight off movies, I really liked, I liked Venom, I liked Whiplash from Iron Man 2, and, just the third dude, I want to say Thanos, but I'm like, that's way too easy. Like, that's such a common answer to just be like, I really like Thanos, but like, Quentin Beck from, No Way, like, was it Far From Home? Yeah. Those are my top three.
Okay, so Mysterio, yep.
Yeah, Mysterio, Whiplash, and Venom. Because, yeah, in terms of, like, with Spider-Man, in the Spider-Man 3 movie, with Venom, like, that version of Venom, it really leaned into the whole, this is a cracked mirror version of Peter Parker. Eddie Brock was basically, discount Peter Parker, and it really made sense. Where Peter Parker got by on, keeping his head down, doing the work. You had Eddie Brock trying to kiss J. Jonah's ass, and he wanted to, like, fast track to getting, a job at the Daily Bugle. But Peter Parker was like, hey, I've been working here for years. If anybody deserves a job, it's me. So that version of the character worked in that regard. And when he got the suit, the first thing he did was do some evil shit. Whereas with Peter Parker,
Jen, that is not the first time I've heard that. Venom is Marvel's answer to Spawn.
It really is.
Get out of here.
No, seriously, it is.
If anything, Spawn is, what's this Vertigo Comics answer to Doctor Strange?
First, so I can't say that.
No, because you see, Doctor Strange was more or less trained in the mystic arts, whereas Spawn was quite literally molded, if I remember correctly, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Oh, Demi, you know the background of Spawn.
I don't remember which one comes first, but basically Constantine and Doctor Strange are the antithesis of each other.
Yeah, Spawn is like a fusion of those two, if you really think about it. Like.
Pretty much.
Yeah. The thing, yeah. Oh yeah.
What's yours, Vi?
What are yours? Yeah.
I don't know.
You're on the spot. Tell me.
Give me a minute. Hold on. I'm also.
No.
Hold on. If you tell me no, I swear to God, I'm doing Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, yes, I.
While you're ruminating on that,
you're doing Yu-Gi while you're talking to me.
Do y'all like Yu-Gi-Oh GX?
certain aspects of it, yes. But some aspects, I'm like, no. The main thing I hate about GX is the, wait, was it GX that came out with it? That being pendulum summoning. I can't remember if GX did.
Joker, Ocelot, and Ganondorf. That just makes me have more questions. Which Joker and which Ganondorf?
I like the theme song for GX, you know, on the American, like, game on, get your game on. Like, that was, that was the shit.
The song for GX was beautiful. I personally cannot say anything bad about that.
Are you saying Ocelot as in Ocelot from Metal Gear, the revolver Ocelot? That guy?
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Revolver is awesome, to be honest, but that's just me.
I thought Armstrong was the dude trying to end all war from, like, Metal Gear Rising.
No, Armstrong was basically Rump, in a nutshell.
Yeah, but he was in shape, you know, with the nanomachine, son. Like,
the nanomachine, son. I fucking love him, I really do. I love Armstrong, he's great.
I missed, like, half of what he was saying because I was too busy laughing. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Let me think.
That boss fight was hilarious. It was hilarious because he just explained that whenever he takes any kind of trauma, the nanomachines activate and it hardens. So Raiden's solution is, I'm gonna punch him a bunch of times. And he just stands there like, what is this dumbass doing? Were you not listening? Like,
yeah, I remember that. Come on.
The 1 through 13. Oh, right, wrong universe.
Damn it.
I thought you were talking about Doctor Who for a sec. Like, what?
I was.
No, it's not Doctor Who, damn it. I wish it was, though. I'm not gonna lie. Because then my answer is always gonna be the 13th Doctor.
Because he's the Doctor.
Exactly.
I always like Christopher Eccleston, Doctor Who.
No, David Tennant all the way.
I mean, sure, if you like him being goofy, but okay.
I enjoy goofy Doctor Who. Who doesn't? Like, so you're gonna be able to sit there and tell me that you did not like zesty David Tennant?
I didn't say I didn't like him. I just thought he was kind of goofy. That's all. You know, like, I like...
He's meant to be goofy.
No, I know that, but...
Hi, Maggie.
I like my Doctor Who's that when, like, the shit's going down, he's the guy you don't fuck with. Like, how do I...
So do I. I mean,
Matt
so
Smith. Matt Smith, I think he has this line in one of the episodes where he's like, you're in the biggest library in the world. I'm the doctor. Look me up. Like, that's right, that line where you be like, damn, man. I didn't know who I was fucking with. I apologize for my outbursts. Hey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, don't get me wrong, but like, what you're... Great. Oh wait, hold up. I'm a dum-dums. I forget I can do that.
Wait a minute. Damn it, we didn't get your top 3. Well, man's still ruminating on his. Who's your top 3 bad guys?
I still try to think about it.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. Let's see, I'll take one from video games. That would probably be Sephiroth or Kuja. Very similar characters, but we'll go with Sephiroth. We'll take one from... we'll take Doctor Doom from comics.
Okay.
Just because if you take everything about Doctor Doom, that may be the most overpowered character to ever exist. Including the fact that he just decided, I'm going to go back to the beginning of the universe and teach myself all magic. What?
Yeah.
And then, third one. I want to try to do one from each kind of genre. So I'll have to think on the anime one. There's a lot of villains I like.
Wait, what? Maggie says we are now on the 7-day countdown.
7 days to what?
I'm wondering.
No, Maggie, no.
Wait, what?
Maggie has this thing where they gift me like once a month on payday. No, Maggie, I don't deserve that level of kindness.
Shut up. Yes, you do.
Stick my tongue out at you.
Oh,
no.
Why Sephiroth, though? I mean, don't say because he's hot. Everybody says that. Everybody who brings up Sephiroth in a positive light just wants to fuck the dude.
Well, I mean, the things I would let him do to me, that's
Exact-
a whole other story.
You and everyone else, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, so my anime one would be Frieza, actually.
Really?
That is fair.
That's kind of weird.
Why is that weird?
Isn't Frieza female?
No. Frieza's male, isn't he?
I was going to say, technically Frieza's male, but most people just consider Frieza to be androgynous.
Yeah.
So question is which Frieza? With the horns or like smooth head, final form?
Oh, hey.
Well, all of them are Frieza, but I like when Frieza no longer represses who they are, especially after they realize that they can't just be an all-powerful being without some effort. That's why I like Frieza, is because Frieza has a lot of growth as a villain.
Oh, so
they still have their shortcomings of thinking that they're all-powerful, but they realize they can't be the all-powerful thing they are without putting some effort into it.
If you consider being tied up into a cocoon for several years, putting in considerable effort, then yeah, sure.
Yeah, and think about being tied up into a cocoon and then being able to keep up with a Saiyan Blue God just by mental training.
I hate that. So that transformation had so much hype, so much build. All this, it had this big ceremony of we need to get a bunch of Saiyans together and everybody combines their powers so that Goku gets all these powers, just so when he transforms he can get evened out by Frieza. This is a form that was.
Because Frieza's a badass.
This is ridiculous. This form is supposed to be powerful enough to take on Beerus, and yet Frieza can keep up with it.
I also, to be fair, did not like since I chose Dragon Ball Z to pick my villain from, which one is like childhood, and two, I hated the fact that in technicality, Cell and Boo were just stronger than Frieza when Frieza was the best written among them.
Yeah, I mean, with Boo, I didn't get that. I didn't really get. There was nothing that Boo did that, would put him above even Cell, in my opinion. Cell was a lot more an interesting threat than Boo, because Boo was just evil to be evil. There was really no reasoning behind what he did.
Well, if you watched the most recent, you understand why Boo's evil is. Boo was literally grown to be evil. That's how Boo was created. They were grown and they were 1 in a billion to be as powerful as they were. It was the perfect concoction, for lack of a better way of putting it. And Boo was just overall grown to be an evil overlord.
I mean, so were the androids, but even they got more depth and personality to them.
Yeah, and that's why I said I'm not a huge fan of Boo. Some of the fight scenes were good, but it also broke a lot of canonics. Potara earrings are supposed to be
forever,
and then Boo turns you into a candy, and then you got separated. And then they tried to explain it away with Boo's magic conflicted with the Potara earrings. And then they went into Dragon Ball Super, where they were like, no, if you have too much power, then the Potara earrings get a limited time frame because they can't keep up with the power of the merger. It broke a lot of canonics. Like I said, overall, Frieza is a character that has had a continual arc of growth in a opposing fashion to Goku. Goku continues to get stronger for their motives and reasoning of basically just wanting to fight stronger fighters, which is kind of boring if you think about it. Frieza has always had the end game plan of, I need to be the strongest in the universe because I want to rule over the universe, and they never thought they would have to get stronger, which, although they knew about Beerus, they never thought it was capable to be on power with a god of destruction. So I can understand where that comes from. You hear the word god. And then they bring, and then Frieza actually goes and does like 6 months of training. And because Frieza is a literal prodigy, catches up with years of training from the Saiyans, which Frieza is supposed to be an all-powerful being. And then Frieza discovers a hyperbolic time chamber and does a year of training in a hyperbolic time chamber and ascends to their newest form, which I don't think there's one past it yet, which is Black Frieza. The naming could be better. Like, Golden Frieza was kind of cool. I'm not sure how I feel about Black Frieza. But Black Frieza is, like, God of destruction level powerful.
It's a better name than Super Saiyan Rose.
Maybe. What a critter! Thank you for the finger hearts. Thank you. But yeah, the naming structure in the show could use some damn work. No, fuck Cell. I hate Cell. Cell is awful.
I feel like with Cell, the writers were just trying to do Frieza again, because there's a lot of perfectcell and Frieza in Final Form, or Final Form back when Goku was Super Saiyan 2. There's a lot of similarities between the two, in just terms of how they carry themselves.
The same thing for Buu. You have Fat Buu, then you have Majin Buu, then you have Evil Buu, and then you have Kid Buu. Like, they always did this form thing. That's why the meme is, this isn't even my final form. The reason I don't like Cell is because Cell was created to just absorb others, so he doesn't even have the power on his own. It takes the power of others to make him more powerful. He doesn't achieve the power on his own.
Well, to be fair, so does Buu.
Cell is poorly written.
So does Buu when he turns people into cookies and he eats them. He gets their power, so, I mean, apples and oranges, really.
Yes, but no. He wasn't supposed to gain powers that way. Like, I don't even know where that came from.
It did work, but like, thing is with Cell, why I like Cell is because he can absorb people. That means, from that perspective, his power technically has no limit. And depending on who he absorbs, his power can grow and grow and grow.
Well, I mean, that technically didn't make any sense either, though, because he already had the cells of the individuals. That's why he had Krillin's attacks, and he had Frieza's attacks. First off, how the fuck did they get Frieza's cells to create Cell?
I don't know, but it was just... I like the thing, because his character was just so disturbing. It wasn't like previous bad guys where you could clearly see, like, yeah, there's some humanoid characters in it. Like, Cell looked like a bug. A just nasty looking bug.
To be fair, you're not entirely wrong, Jen, but Rimuru is also the reincarnation of the original god of that universe. So every power they're obtaining, they already had at one point in time. But you're not wrong. I mean, that I guess I can see that argumentation. I'm sorry, I might have ruined stuff for people because I've read really far ahead in the manga. I don't just watch the animated series. So I know a lot more about Rimuru than a lot of people. But you're not entirely wrong. The slime does absorb things and get their powers. You're not entirely wrong. I don't like Cell. I'll just say I don't like Cell. How's that? Cell's bad. Fuck Cell. You know how we know Cell's bad? Because Frieza was brought back and Cell's still a bitch.
Yeah, this is a franchise where no one's ever truly gone, so it says a lot that Cell's the one who didn't come back.
Technically they brought back Super Cell, but that was really dumb. It was just like a giant cell and then got its ass kicked by Beast Gohan. I did like the throwback, though, that Gohan was the one to beat Cell a second time.
Oh, yeah.
And then technically you had the movies where Gohan and Goten went and beat up Cell, Frieza, and Mustache Man while in hell. So, I mean, technically he's had a couple of throwbacks. He just gets his butt kicked within like 5 seconds of being around.
With Dragon Ball is a more interesting story when it's not Goku being the one to save the day, and it falls to one of the side characters, because it technically makes for a more thrilling episode.
Thing. I think I might have had more respect for Cell if they followed the original storyline that Goku was going to finally perish and Gohan was going to take over as the main protagonist. And then there was such an uproar by fans of getting rid of Goku and Gohan taking over the family mantle that they rewrote the story for Goku to come back in. I think I might have given Cell more respect if he was the one that beat Goku and finally put Goku out of commission permanently. But I don't know, the way the story played out, I just don't have respect for Cell. I don't like the character. I don't like the fact that he blew himself up and then became an even more perfect form. Like, I thought it was just poor writing. It's the same reason I don't like Boo, where Boo's defeated. Oh, wait, here's an eviler version of Boo that's more powerful. I've got to go feed kitties, so I will be back in a moment.
Okay. I'll hang in here.
Okay.
Ready, go!
It had its moments. Dragon Ball GT. That's the thing right there that I enjoyed. That opening narration of last time on Dragon Ball GT. Yeah, that was some good stuff. Not really a fan of Super Saiyan 4. You know, just I don't. It just looks. It looks too. The fact that they turned Goku and Vegeta into furries with Super Saiyan mullets just never really strict. We should have gotten more of Gohan. Yeah, I mean, we kind of did in those early, like, post-Cell episodes where we saw Gohan in college and he was just going about his regular life, or at least trying to, and he was a Saiyaman. Like, that kind of ridiculous. Like, what the... Like, man, you saved the world. As you. Like, what's this disguise for? You telling me people don't know what you look like? You telling me the whole world... Oh, wait. Yeah. There was that newsman, but, like, his camera got destroyed, so maybe nobody knows. But that's the thing. With all these villains, all these earth-shattering conflicts and, times that the earth was on close calls, you telling me nobody knows about it? Like, a whole stadium full of people got blasted to bits by, I think it was Boo, and they got wished back by Vegeta, and everybody was just like, huh, that was weird. Well, let's just go about our days. Like, no. Somebody would know something. Somebody would... the fact that, like, Hercule is the only guy who knows what's up, that's incredibly suspicious. Yeah. Good old Hercule. Like, he was... People sleep on Hercule, but he wrapped his head up and put... Yes! Exactly. That was a ridiculous disguise. His disguise was just a do-rag and some sunglasses. That's it. A do-rag, some sunglasses, and a cheesy uniform. And that's it. And I'm sorry, but that name is ridiculous. Saiyaman. With his Ginyu Force poses right before he said that. Like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? What year are you living in? Better than soup? Come on now. Say what you want about Superman, but that is simple, straight to the point, and you know right away, like, what is this guy's deal? He's a man, and he is Superman. Blammo. Simple, straight to the point, and easy to understand. Granted, there is some serious laziness in terms of the writing for that character, but other than that, I get it. Not really big on early Superman back in the days when he was perfect. Because, he's Superman. He's practically invincible. He's smiling, good guy who always does the right thing, is never, in a situation where he can't save the day. That character gets pretty boring after a while, and just having a character who's always perfect all day, every day, is going to piss a lot of people off because it's going to, it's going to make people mad and have this thing of like, man, fuck this guy. He thinks he's so perfect. You can kind of empathize with Lex Luthor in that way. Like, this motherfucker thinks he's all that. He's not even human. But that's kind of where you draw the line. There was a moment where Lex Luthor and Clark was being interviewed by Clark Kent, and he was talking mad shit. He was talking like, you know something, Kent? If Superman wasn't around, I bet you Lois Lane might have given you a look now and then. Like, what the how you gonna do that, man? Like, you just know Clark Kent gotta sit there and take this shit. Like, man, I could crush you right now. Yeah, you keep talking that shit, man. You keep talking. When you break out again, I'm gonna really give it to you this time. Because you keep talking. But, oh, shit. Man, old Saiyan, man. Shit, that could have been... Yeah, I'm glad they put a stop to that when they did, man. That was ridiculous. What I don't understand from that run, Krillin becoming a cop, I'm like, you can fly. You can shoot energy beams out of your hand. You have the Destructo disc, but you just a motorcycle cop? You're the Dragon Ball's version of Chips? Like, why? I mean, I know, being a hero doesn't pay anything, and you gotta put food on the table, but man, really? I love the cheesiness. Yeah, it had its moments. There was some, and this isn't even like, I like cheesiness too. It's got its moments. It has its place in Dragon Ball, especially in those like early days of an arc when it's like, here's what life is like for our heroes. Here's what they do in the everyday life. Here's what's been going on since we last saw the Z Fighters. And we see Android 13 and all that, and we see they have kids, which the closest thing we get to an explanation to that is, well, Android 13, they made her human somehow between the arcs, and now she's able to have kids. Oh, sorry, 18. I get them confused. There's so many. Who the...
Well, just say Dr. Giro was, what's the word for it? Thorough with their creation.
Yeah, let's just say that. Any further detail and it gets weird. Yeah. There were so many damn androids, But yeah, I like 18, and there was, who was the dude with the black shirt and the jeans who became like a park ranger or something?
17.
Yes. And I really liked the one before that with like the red mohawk and the green outfit. Looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, Tommy.
16, yeah. There was this one redneck android with like a trucker cap, and he sounded like a he.
Oh, he was from the movie. I can't remember which one that is.
Yeah, that was weird. It was like, so Dr. Giro is just out here designing androids, and he's like, this one, I'm gonna make you a real southern truck driver type, and next I'm gonna make a big dude with a mohawk, and then next I'm gonna make like. What is going on here, man? Are you lonely? Is that why you have this many androids out here? Like, what gives?
Well, I mean, there is a running joke that he was making Smex bots before he decided to make androids to take over the world.
I mean, it's possible. With all the advanced technologies done by Capsule Corp, it is possible. Yeah.
You're here for 13 minutes. That's okay. The live ends in 16 minutes.
Oh, yeah. A good live it has been indeed. Covered a lot of ground, you know. Do you think we'll ever get a...
21 calls.
Ooh. Hot damn.
What's up?
You think we'll ever get a proper live-action Dragon Ball movie?
No. They failed and they'll probably never touch it again.
I mean, they did Avatar again.
Wasn't it bad the second time?
It was poorly... Well, in places it was poorly written, I'll say that much.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure they failed both times. They should have just left it at square one and said, we can't do this.
I honestly feel like we saw way too much of Firelord Ozai in the Netflix show. Like they tried to humanize him and it worked way too effectively. Like, yeah, man, like I shouldn't... This dude, for the longest time, was just a shadowy figure in a chair surrounded by fire. You didn't see his face or nothing.
I'm sorry. It doesn't... No, it doesn't matter. All that matters is when you watch the show and you're making a show off of something else, and then how the fuck do you get the name wrong? I'm sorry, for anybody that watched the live action that had to hear the word ong,
over and over.
Ong, over and 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 over again.
Yeah. Nothing.
Also, Sokka.
Yes, Sokka. Just wow. Just wow.
No, like,
man.
I love Ahsoka so much, but it's Sokka.
Yeah.
But, like, let me tell you, having beef with a 12-year-old, you can't humanize that man for me. I'm just here, like, he is relentlessly battling this 12-year-old.
Oh, but if you want to talk about adaptations, go watch King's Avatar. It's probably the best live-action adaptation of a manga/anime I've ever watched, and actually I would say the live-action is better than the anime.
So, like, on live actions that people don't really know a lot about, I want more people to like the new Legend of Monkey.
The Legend of who?
The new Legend of Monkey, the monkey god. I love him, and I love Sandy. The original book it was based off of, they turned one of the characters into a woman, and I love her.
Oh, I've watched this.
I love it.
But that's because I like Journey to the West, so yeah.
And like, then it got canceled, and I was like, no, but it was so good. It had so much potential. It didn't go anywhere.
Oh, Jen, that's the quickest way to get me canceled. You brought up One Piece, and I don't like One Piece in general, so I'm definitely not watching the live adaptation.
Okay, so you don't want to see my Ace cosplay.
I mean, you can show it to me, I just don't like One Piece.
You are very odd. That's all I can say.
I can't stand the animation style, and if I can't watch the animation style, then I don't care how good it is or bad it is.
Well,
the
that's
animation
valid.
pisses me off.
It's classic.
That's valid.
It's classic animation.
No, it also
It
sucks.
is not classic animation. Gundam Wing is classic animation.
You know what's good? Salty Ray. And I'm gonna keep hyping it up until you watch it.
No. You know what's good? More dinosaurs.
Yes, more dinosaurs, but I still want you to at least watch the opening sequence.
You ever heard of
Or
this
Salty Ray.
anime called Goodnight World?
No.
It was on
Oh.
Netflix.
And
I wasn't a big fan of Yu Yu Hakusho, although I've watched it. I was a bigger fan of Flame of Recca, which basically they were just the same anime with different characters.
yeah, I love both. But also Kuwabara is like the sweetest of beings. The way he went to war and he like also refused to bend on his morals, and all of this for a kitten named Eikichi. And Oh, that kitten was so cute. I understand.
I mean, if you like John Wick, you better understand this.
Also, Jen, I understand being one of the biggest haters of something, because if Kikyo has no haters, it's because I am gone from this earth.
Yeah, I feel the same about South Park.
Oh, I'm just very. I hate Kikyo so much. You can't make me love her. Like, her entire being, her entire character. Love original Kikyo. You know, like her soul that is gone, which is not the character that we see. That Kikyo should stay in the ground. She needs to stop rising from the ground. And as soon as Kagome and Inuyasha are good, just show her face. Like, she's got the timing.
Or we could just put Koga on the screen at all times.
That is true. I still don't know how I feel about how he promised a toddler that he would marry her when she grew up and they saw a lunar rainbow. But
hey, I don't talk about the writing.
That brings up a good question. How do y'all feel about certain anime doing this thing where they'll have a character that's clearly insinuated to be and behaves like a teenager, but then, so that it's not creepy, they'll pull this thing of like, oh, this person you thought was a teenager is actually like a 500-year-old immortal or something. So, hey, it's cool if you find this person attractive. That tends to happen.
I'm in so much trouble. My favorite character in Bleach is Hitsugaya.
my favorite's Kenpachi.
I'm actually 700 years old, but I look like a 15-year-old boy. I don't know. I think I have a bigger problem because in Japan it was legal for the longest time for 13-year-olds to give consent. So anime had this thing of drawing like 13 and 14-year-olds that would get into or insinuate precarious behavior. Yeah, I find it very problematic, but I get why they did it because of their culture. I'm glad it's not the case anymore, and they've slowly started removing it from anime.
Oh, so you would hate Kitty Grade?
I'm not sure what that is.
The closest thing to that would probably be Princess Bubblegum in Adventure Time, because she old as fuck. Yet in those early episodes, her and Finn were almost a thing in several episodes.
Convince me that she wasn't a thing with Marceline.
Yeah, they were a thing. They were a thing. They broke up.
There was no even maybe with Finn. It was always like ride or die forever.
Oh yeah,
Marceline and...
without question.
I was gonna say, isn't that the vampire?
Yeah, the Vampire Queen. Because there was.
So wait a minute. Let me ask you a reverse question. If somebody's turned into a vampire at the age of 15 and they never age past that, but they're a 7,000-year-old or they're a 2,000-year-old vampire, is it okay?
Well,
it wasn't a vampire kiss. It wasn't okay now.
No, it's not okay.
Doll, so.
It is not.
It wasn't okay. It's not okay now.
It wasn't okay in Interview with a Vampire either.
Okay, but she was also unhinged.
She is unhinged.
I love her.
Yeah. The thing, they even bring it up in that one Adventure Time episode where Finn looks into his past life and he's Shoko, and she finds that medal that PB left behind, and PB can see like, wait a minute, is that Shoko in there? And then Shoko's like, yeah, it's me. And PB, you're like a bajillion years old. Why you keep acting like you're 19? And all Princess Bubba can say is like, like, that shit ain't funny. That's very weird. Like, oh shit.
I don't know. I'm stuck on that because we're in a fantasy universe. If you tell me if you're a character that was the ability to age past, we'll say 16, was taken away from you because you were turned into a vampire and you are now centuries old. I'm like at a catch-22 on that because yes, you now have the problematic thing of people being attracted to like a 16-year-old, but they're also thousands of years, or hundreds, if not thousands of years old, and you're basically saying that person can never do anything because they were turned at 16 years old. I find it to be a very fucked up quandary.
I mean, Wonder Woman kind of has that same issue, almost, because she's...
Well, I mean, hell, Wolverine has that issue.
Yeah, he's like 200 years old, so every woman is a younger woman with him.
Also, my husband.
I was going to say he's 200 years old and in a polycule with Jean and Scott.
Yeah. That is way creepy in X-Men Evolution. That is way creepy.
Their beef is the best.
Of course it is, because Scott is like the confident, like the high school jock guy, number one in the team and all that, and Wolverine is the bad boy from out of town. Of course Jean is feeling him.
X-Men Evolution, which was definitely a cash grab to make them all teenagers.
That's what I mean. That's why it's way creepy.
I seriously have to know if when Scott and Wolverine first got together, if Wolverine just walked in and afterwards and was like, "So how'd you like being with an older man?"
God damn.
What has my life become? No!
Oh, you know what? Now I want to start running anime lives and all that.
Well, maybe you should. I'll jump in.
No, actually, that's probably my one issue with isekais is they brought back that trope is like a 30-year-old in the other universe before they got isekai'd, and then they're isekai'd into like a 12-year-old that's still growing up, and then they're getting a harem as a 12-year-old. I'm like, I get that they were 30 in the other world, but shit, stop it.
Yeah, I want to be isekai'd into Boku no Hero Academia and become the absolute thorn in Aizawa's side. I just want to make him so irritated. I don't know. I feel like it would be fun. That's like isekai as an idea is so interesting. There's a lot of ways they can go, and
holy Jesus fuck! How much did you all tap? We're at 101k likes.
I'm convinced none of you have fingers left.
Now I want 101 Dalmatians.
Well, I have the 102 Dalmatians.
Likes now? Will you settle for that instead? Look at it.
We have 101k likes, and this is one of the smaller lives I've ever had. My lives with like 500 people would only get to like 50k. What in the ever-loving fuck?
Oh no, I gotta go.
But don't worry, TikTok still only has 7 people in here. Y'all, stop tapping. Save your fingers. We only have 3 minutes left to the live.
I'm gonna play Among Us in 2.5 hours.
No, we're not.
Join the server.
Well.
No, I have to beat Simon.
I said I am.
No, you gotta come to my Twitch.
I'm always in your Twitch. I have 3 devices. I gotta go.
Alrighty, bye, Raina. Alright, everyone, we have 6 people remaining in here. We have 227 that came through. We had one gifter, Critter, with 24 finger hearts. Thank you so much. 102k likes. Jesus, thank you so much for double tapping that screen. I really appreciate it. You all are amazing. We can do both. We did yesterday. Oh, thanks for calling it out, Rain. Yeah. Oh, if I can beat Simon early, I may actually join you all on Among Us. But we're going to try to beat him. For all the likes, shares, and gifts, thank you all so much. I absolutely appreciate it. I really couldn't do this without all of you. And you have made my Friday just a little bit better, especially after the big, ugly bill. And yeah, that's what I'm calling it.
As always, I appreciate, coming on here. Your presence is ever thoroughly acknowledged and respected. It's always a blast coming into these lives and having discussions. Hopefully in future these such relaxed talk can continue and we can just sit and laugh and talk about our favorite things with anime. Not that, you know, the other topics aren't important. They are very important, you know. But, you know, this was fun. Because, you know,
I don't know if I ever hear
yeah.
you bring GT up in my live again. I may just kick you.
Hey, I don't like it. The first thing I
No,
said when
so
I was
much.
talking about it is I don't like it. But anywho, you know,
So, thank you so much for being here, Man on the Moon. I appreciate it.
hey, it's cool. Can you drop me? Because I keep pressing
I
the
can,
wrong
I can.
thing and just.
I got you.
Alright, bye.
Sweet light flickers, shadows dance. Reel to reel spinning, lost in a trance. Neon nights where stories ignite. The 80s magic fills the sky bright. Blockbuster dreams on silver screens. Heroes and journeys wild in between. Tall tales told, bold colors that gleam. Fantasies built on an endless dream. Popcorn air, sunsets on the bay.